being video recorded and live streamed. I ask if there's a disclosure of interest. As there is none, we have a resolution that has adopted the agenda with the following amendments. It has been moved and seconded, and the amendment is number 11, petition and communications for information only, elemental energy pre-engagement confirmation notice under the LT2 E1 RFP. Does anyone have anything to add to the agenda? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And this evening, I was going to say this morning, this evening, we have Gary Christian here from the local labor market, from North Superior Workforce Planning Board to come and give a presentation, and I give the floor to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for letting me come in tonight. I know you've got a tight schedule here, so let's get right at it. We've seen what the situation is in terms of labor market here in the Thunder Bay district.
So I just want to check, is your microphone, is the green light on? Otherwise the audience online won't be able to hear you.
It's
green.
okay. We got green.
Perfect.
We have, okay, we're good. All right. Somebody saying everybody can hear me now?
Okay,
good. Thank you. As you're aware, the labor market in the District of Thunder Bay is quite tight. This morning, I took a look at what just in the District of Thunder Bay, there was 1,041 jobs advertised that are not filled. The City of Thunder Bay alone had 879 jobs as of 10:30 this morning that are advertised and not filled. So we're still seeing a really tight labor market in terms of what's going on here. And that is going to continue for quite some time. We have some factors that we have to consider. The fact that we have an aging population. And 2026 is Freedom 65 for those born in 61, 60, and 59. So those people are going to be working out and getting out of the job market. In our district alone, that represents almost 18% of our population. So that puts us in a pretty tight pickle in terms of what's going on. And you can see job ads that are still being advertised right now that are not being filled. Right now, Resolute, or I should say Thunder Bay Pulp and Paper, came to us. They're in a recruitment process because they know that they have an older workforce. And they're concerned where they're going to get the workforce to come forward and do that. So there's a big issues here, and what we're facing is it's called the dependency ratio. So what is happening here is that when we look at our population, we look at the people who are 0 to 14 and 65 and older. So what we do is look at the numbers, saying how many people working, how many people depend on that working. So right now, our ratio is 6.68. Which is not a very good ratio. That means that out of every 100 people, 68 people depend on that 100 people to work, because the municipality here has to pay for the additional services that have to support those people, be it youth or older retired people. So what happens is that when you got a shrinking workforce in the municipality, that means the costs are only going to go higher because you have more to support, which means the likelihood is taxes are going to go up. So we're facing that dilemma right now here in Northwest Ontario. 3 years ago, we were down at 0.52 percentage wise. So we've seen a significant jump, and that again reflects our older population in terms of that. We've had issues in terms of retaining people, especially when you have internationals or highly graduated from our two, world-class institutions we have today. We're now going to face even worse because now with the cuts in immigration and the cuts in study permits allowed into college university, that shortens our workforce in the future. And again, it's going to affect your municipality because there's companies in the municipality that may have a difficult time hiring people. So we're going to face that even shorter. That short outcome is going to be quicker than we think. But on the positive side of things, we've seen a lot of growth in the forestries really starting to stabilize. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen south of us. There's no doubt about that. We see mining, even with Impala, announcing their closure, but that mine's closed 3 or 4 times. They have deposits there. It's the market right now. That's what they're facing because they have to look at cost. So, we're going to see changes to that. We're seeing a new gold mine opening up in Marathon and Generation Gold. So that's another one there. We've seen gold mines, even within the District of Thunder Bay, that potential that we're going to be seeing coming online. So this is not including the Ring of Fire, which is in itself, that there's probably 10,000 jobs just out of the Ring of Fire. Thunder Bay will be the base for that particular thing. So we're going to see growth there. But it's from now to there where we have to draw these people into us. And that's a big issue. And in your package, I gave you outcomes in terms of employment in the long term. We have a lot of interest for the trades. We all know the trades right now are hurting. Last year in 2024, we had over 300 job ads for electricians. Less than half got filled. That's just electricians. Right now, if you're a welder, you can get a job virtually anywhere right now. In the service sector, and those service sector industries are hurting for people. Walmart right now is already crying, what are they going to do in the fall when they used to hire all the students to come work in their stores during the winter, right? So now there's going to be a shortage there, and we're going to see that impact too. So we're seeing those things. And what happened this year, since 2017, we used to have a workforce was basically, there was a 50-50, then it actually went towards more women in the workforce than men. So at one point, we're about 48% women, or 48% men, 52% women. Unfortunately, that has completely flipped. Now we're at 55% men, 45% women. The COVID has really hurt that number of women in the workforce because all those retail businesses were closed by COVID. And a lot of those businesses, because we changed our spending habits, we now buy Amazon.com, right? And so we're no longer buying from brick and mortar. So those stores have actually shrunk their capacities and shrunk their workforce. So now women, unfortunately, are facing a dilemma in terms of getting back in the workforce because of that very reason. So it's going to get tougher for them. And, you know, we have an also workforce here is First Nations that we have. Thunder Bay's population, we have the highest number Indigenous people per capita in anywhere in Ontario. That's almost representing the 20% of the workforce in Northwest Ontario. Employers are going to have to start tapping into them and accessing that workforce, because if we don't have immigration coming here, and the growth of last year for immigration in the District of Thunder Bay was 3,005. That's the net growth that we had in terms of immigration. By 2046, the District of Thunder Bay needs a minimum between 55 and 85,000 people to maintain the current levels we have today. So this is 25, we're going into 26. So 20 years from now, and you know, we're going to have to really bring people in to sustain what we have. Because if you all look around the table here, you know, in the next 5-10 years, we're all going to be retired, you know, and what's behind us. Well,
Not him.
Exception.
Not him.
There's always an exception to the crowd. Not to age anybody here, but so. So, but yeah, I've given you reports in the mining sector and the forestry sector. As you know, mining is obviously doing very well right now. Projections are going to be very good in terms of where it's going to go in our mining exploration time. You know, the government right now is going into mining. They're spending huge dollars in the critical minerals. You know, critical minerals are right here in Northwestern Ontario. Thunder Bay will be the base. We're going to see a population grow significantly in terms of that. And we're seeing that, starting to see that trickle in right now. You know, I don't know if you've been to CENCAN, Central Canada Mining Conference, that happens here. The big show. I mean, that gets bigger every year because those suppliers, Thunder Bay is going to become quickly a supply company for the mining sector. And it's also becoming quickly a supply company for bigger forestry sector. So we've changed, the technology's changed, and there's other services that have come out. It's no longer just pulp and timber. It's now byproducts and secondary products of that. So that's going to change even better. It's just too bad the popsicle plant couldn't have lasted for another 5 years. They would have been, because we're all going wooden spoons, wooden knives, and you know, it's just timing is everything, unfortunately, eh? So this year we produced a 24-25 labor market report for the District of Thunder Bay. This year we did something different. We have a sister board that's out of Dryden, Northwest Training Adjustment Board. We also partnered up with Employment Next, which is a system service manager, which manages all the Employment Ontario programs. So we developed a labor market plan for all of Northwest Ontario. So we specifically did that for that. So if you're a municipality, you can look at what's happening at other municipalities in terms of growth, what they're doing to expand their growth, or what's affecting them. So you can do some strategic planning on the numbers that you can do. And you can look at this and say, okay, where's the trends? What's going to happen in terms of workforce and that? And we see that the youth unemployment rate right now, we just sent it out this morning, was 15.6%. For youth. That's basically it's 1 out of 4 kids are not working. And that's between the ages of 15 and 24. It's actually higher in Southern Ontario. Our unemployment rate now rate is 7.4%. We got one of the lowest in the province in terms of unemployment. So, you know, we're stabilizing. Things are going quite well in that direction there. But again, we have to look at the future aspect of what's going on. And it will impact smaller communities. There's no doubt about that. As I said earlier, the older the population, you know, the higher cost. That means most likely higher taxes in terms of that. Housing, we know, has always been a big issue. It still is a big issue. I mean, in the town of Terrace Bay, the mill shut down. You can't buy a house in that town, believe it or not. I think there were 6 homes in house there for sale. That's it. Because people are getting jobs in the mines or, you know, working in Greenstone. They're not moving. And they're saying, why would I sell a house that's worth 150 there and buy a house for $500,000 in Thunder Bay? That's logic, right? It's illogical. So we're seeing that trend happen very quickly in terms of that. Internationals, we did a study with internationals, and they love Northwestern Ontario. They really do. We just got to make that connection with them to get into internships or, you know, start on jobs where they can get that start to get into the workforce. Because the most difficult thing for anybody graduating is getting that experience. And that's been a number one thing that everybody's having a tough time with. So we've looked at that and we've got to work on that. We know that everybody knows we got to get that straightened out so we can hold those people here because they're highly educated, experience they have overseas. We have to get employers to recognize that experience because a lot of those the kids that come here from Commonwealth countries. So our education system and our working systems are pretty close in terms of that. So we got to match that up, eh? So we got to, figure that out, and it's happening. We are getting retention. There's no doubt about that. The CDC in Thunder Bay has got the 2 pilot projects that are going on there. We provided all the data for that project. So again, that one unfortunately was restricted in terms of the federal government said it has to be only the city of Thunder Bay. It has to only be 5 industries that you can apply through, only 5 categories for each industry. It's convoluted. It was like, we didn't understand it. Why can't it be the district of Thunder Bay? But unfortunately, the municipalities was included around the Thunder Bay. So that was good, but it's still, they're having extremely well success on that. And a lot of those Ukrainians coming in here. So we've had huge success and CDC is doing a great job on that one there. So that's good to see because again, we're retaining those people here to make sure we keep those jobs because, plants like Ulstrom plant, when they get the big contract online, I mean, 500-600 people, we're down to 250 now. I'm sure they're concerned where we're going to get all that workforce because the people who left are obviously working in the mines or, I mean, they're going elsewhere to work, but still live here and you got to draw them back. Eh? So there's difficulty in terms of that to figure that out. So in our 24-25 report here, there's a whole lot of information there that you can look at and it has a lot of information. You'll see the Thunder Bay one there for the Thunder Bay District. We've really simplified it so because if I throw you a bunch of data information at you, you're going to go, what the heck is this supposed to mean? So we've interpreted a lot of that data for you. Education-wise, Northwest Ontario, we're doing extremely well. 83% of the kids that come out of high school graduate high school grade 12. The number of people coming out of college, university, we're still below the provincial average, but the problem that we deal with in Thunder Bay and in Northwest Ontario is demographics and geographics. Kids are living in Kenora or someone wants to do a college diploma in Kenora cannot drive to Thunder Bay every day, so their options are limited in terms of completing education, and same with university. They're doing part-time courses online, so their graduation will take a little bit longer, but the success rate we've had at our 2 world-class institutions has been excellent. Confederation College has the highest rate of employment after graduation in the province. So we're seeing some really good numbers there. Unfortunately, as you were, Confederation College is going to take a big hit with the reduction in international students. They've had to cancel 14 programs already. They're looking at the numbers in the fall time. We don't know where those numbers are going to be. So, that impacts our local economy. That impacts the workforce because these are future people coming in, if not 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. Eh? Lakehead, from what I understand, been meeting with Lakehead is that it's not as bad, but it's still, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse too. So we, with our board, we're mandated to provide labor market information. We do presentation with the information that's available. Everything we have is for free. We have working tools. We have information for previous reports on our website. You can go and download. We now have a research data analyst in-house. So if there's something you're looking for in terms of data that the township may want to look at, I've forwarded an Excel sheet that's going to have, if you go on that Excel sheet, you can see all the municipalities in your region are on there. So you can actually compare your municipality to the other municipalities and see where you sit in terms of wages, in terms of population. It breaks down the population, men, women, and children, age-wise. So it gives you an idea where you sit compared to the municipalities. And, some of your thinking process to figure out, okay, what do we got to do, to better ourselves? Hey, Neeb's better. Let's beat Neebing or let's beat, Papoon Township. Oh, that's you guys, right? See, you want to beat yourself at it, right? You got to want to do that. So it's there. It's take a look at it. And again, we give all that stuff for free. And I'm bringing a project research person on board. I'm just waiting for the final approval. So we're going to have that person in house. We're looking at doing a transportation study. We know transportation is being a big issue in Thunder Bay. It's been a big issue in Northwest Ontario, and we've got to look at this because it's not working. I mean, we've got a port, we've got highways, we've got rail, we got air. And if, with the Ring of Fire happening, we've already heard Frontier is going to be putting a processing plant at the old power station. They're still looking at Great West. There's 2 companies at Great West seriously taking that land over. We still got the old Abitibi Mill and Lakeshore Drive. There's still buyers for that one there. So if this stuff's all going to come in and there's a mine opening up in Kenora, that's going to be critical minerals there. That's going to be coming to Thunder Bay. There's another critical mineral pot just outside of Beardmore, more than McDermott, and that's going to go to Red Rock. You've heard all of that about the Red Rock, but eventually this stuff material is going to come here. The Ring of Fire is coming to Thunder Bay. All the material is going to come out of the port, either rail or boat, whatever the case may be. So there's opportunities for growth in terms of that, but we've just got to get to that stage. And that's the most difficult part that you know, it's going to affect you guys too, in terms of hopefully growth in the population, you know, and businesses, relocation of business into your municipality too. That's really, really important to have that, because that infrastructure is what you need, you know, and it just makes your community much better. There's no doubt about that too. So, but yeah, if you go into our website, you'll see we got a lot of work tools on there, and there's a lot of resources on there. There's a lot of reports we've had in the past that you can take a look at. And I encourage people to go look back at the ones at 2015, because what we said in 2015, 16 is happening today. We predicted this was going to happen because of our aging population, plus the change in technology, plus the use of critical minerals. They were talking critical minerals in 2015, for crying out loud. We're just now making a real attempt to actually do something with it. Eh? So yeah, take a little look at it if you can. If you have any questions at all, please give us a call. And if you're looking for research, again, everything we do is for free. So if there's something you guys want to get in employment side or future development side, we can get it for you. We're well connected. We have a direct agreement with Stats Canada, Skilled Trades Ontario. We're finishing up a final agreement with the Revenue Canada in terms of tax income levels. We're now on the Workforce Advisory Board for the Canadian Nuclear Association of Canada. So because the depository is going to come here, that, by the way, that's a whole different ball of wax. That depository, there's 5,000 jobs just to build the damn thing. So we're going to see huge things happening there. Again, Thunder Bay is going to be the base for that. It's happening. I mean, they're doing the engineering study right now. That's all going to happen. So there's more coming this way in terms of, and we don't even know how it's going to get shipped up there. We don't know if it's going to go rail, ground, water, whatever. So, you know, these are things that are happening. So we got to get prepared for that. And which is good that, you know, it's happening. We can say, hey, let's get ourselves in that direction there. And hopefully for your municipality, you'll be in a great position to draw people in here and grow from 6,000 to 8,000.
Every truck is going to go down.
Well, you're right on the corridor when it comes to transport and railroad. You're right on. It's rail there, a road here. I mean, either way, it's coming through you, right?
The Kaministquah River was any deeper, we'd be doing the water too.
Well, you know, I'm surprised they haven't tried to think about dredging it and say, hey, we can bring it up to here. So, but yeah, you know what? And you know, again, it's interesting times. We don't know what's happening in the south of us. Let's face it. You know, it changes day to day, and he's impacting a lot of investments that are going on. And that's why you don't see a lot of announcements investments wise, and because they don't know what direction he's going to go with this. Eh? So a lot of that investment is being held off. And the Conference Board of Canada actually had a really good insight for Northwest Ontario. They're saying that Northwest Ontario is the next economic boom in Ontario is going to happen here. It's not going to be forestry. It's not going to be automotive. It's not going to be industrial. It's going to be here because demand for critical minerals, the EVs are coming no matter which way we look at it. Maybe 5 years down the road, a little bit longer, but all those critical minerals are here and the government needs them. We can hear the government make the announcement, hear where they're going to go with this. And Conference Board of Canada said that our outlook for the next 20 years is going to be very, very positive. So, you know, that's very good. So anyways, I know I've talked a lot. You've got to get a heavy menu here. Any questions, any concerns at all?
No, very interesting. Yes, very
So
interesting.
good luck. And we're going to keep doing updates, and I'll be sending updates to the municipalities. Like the spreadsheet I sent earlier, we're going to get that. We're eventually going to put it together. And we're going to do updates every month. We want to just see how things are moving. So at least you can see some trends, what's happening within your municipalities in terms of that. And actually, when you look at the wages, your wages in your community are quite high. The wages are quite high when you compare to other municipalities. Per hour salaries here are pretty good. So, and that's a good sign because if they're making a good dollar, that means they're going to spend the money here and build bigger homes and buy more toys and spend some more money. So
Build another barn.
that too. Yes, build another barn. So.
Well, thank you very much for coming this evening. It's
Thank
been
you.
very interesting, and thank you for taking your time to talk to us. Very much
anytime.
appreciate it. Okay, what do we have here? The next item on our agenda is resolution moved and seconded to approve the council meeting minutes that were held on July the 15th. With the following amendments: number 1, resolution number 269-2025 amended to read defeated. An additional new business item is following a question regarding the contract with Tyrannus for the Twin City Crossroads project. It was noted that guardrails were not part of the contract, and that was brought forward at our last meeting. Any further discussion? Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have the bylaw enforcement report on page 30. Our bylaw enforcement officer is off for the week. But if there's any questions, I'm sure if our CAO does not have the answers, we'll get them for you. None? Okay. Then we have the building department report for January to July 2025, along with the building permit tracker. So if there's any questions about the building report, our planner is here and may be able to give us the answers to those. We certainly haven't caught up to the year before when it comes to cost of construction. So, yes.
The cost of construction, I was looking at this and there's those two huge items there. Yeah,
Barn,
oh no, those are bigger than that, the
OPGs.
yeah, OPG on page 37, 73 million and 25 million. So it's really jacked it up, but the fees on that are not commensurate.
No, I'm not getting $1 million fees from that. Yes,
Do we end up getting, is that taxable from property tax?
OPG?
Utilities.
Hydro facilities are exempted from property taxes.
Mhm.
As critical infrastructure.
No. Nope. Any further questions? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Through the chair, is the value of permit number 42 correct? Not in accordance with what we had in our further report.
The storage tent?
Yes.
Oh, it says it was issued.
Mm-hmm. But the value of cost of construction was 8,000?
That would be the cost. That would be because it's internally constructed.
Through the chair, the bulk of the report that Councillor Peacock's alluding to has to do with labor that was included in the report. When you look at the summary from the 15,000 original budget in 2024, the remainder of the purchase price plus what we spent on materials and equals the 8,000 that's shown. The bulk of the report that we're alluding to has to do with labor that was used.
Yes. Any further questions? All righty, the next item is the Fire and Emergency Services. We have the minutes of the Fire and Emergency Services meeting held on July 16th, page 41 to 43, and our fire chief is here to answer any questions if you have anything on their minutes. No questions? Is there anything you'd like to bring forward to us now, Mike? No? Okay, thank you. Next item we have is a resolution moved and seconded recommending the purchase of firefighter 110 particulate hoods at $115.50 per hood for a total of $12,705, and that would be from Valley Fire Protection. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councillor Peacock.
Thank you. I spoke with the CAO, and in the report paragraph there, I believe it's to come from the 2025 budget, not the 2024 budget, if I'm correct on that one. Particulates.
Oh, and at the bottom there.
Yes.
Yes, that's just
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just a number.
And it was my understanding that the asset manager was the one that would put out the requests for pricing. Am I wrong in that? Can anybody do it?
Well, that's generally what we do, but when we are in a pinch, various managers will take on procurement and the treasurer is involved, so we cover it off that way.
Yeah, that was a simple request for quotes. So the fire clerk had access to all of the relevant suppliers, sent the request for quotes to them. They provided responses, And I was present for the review of the quotes and the recommendation to go with Valley Fire Services.
Thank you.
This isn't like purchasing a truck, which has a lot of different things to it. This is a hood, and a hood is a hood is a hood.
The hood is a hood is a, yeah, it's well understood.
Yes. Okay, so the resolution has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have the South Landfill tent cost approval, page 46 and 47. We have a resolution. Now it says the second paragraph has been revised. Would you like to read the whole resolution, please?
Yes, the top part is the same, but I'll read it. That with respect to report 2025.157, we recommend authorization of administration to pay the installation cost of the fabric-clad steel building tent erected at the South Landfill in April 2025, totaling $26,860.55, including non-refundable HST, be approved, and that the cost be covered by the unspent portions of the $10,000 north and $10,000 south landfill site maintenance provisions in budget 2025, with the remainder of the cost to be covered by the working fund reserve. And I'll just explain a bit about what's happened there is the $20,000 in those two provisions is not clear. We have utilized some of the money for some other things. So what would be unspent at the end of the year, we're planning to apply that to this cost of this steel-clad building. But that won't be enough, so we'll need to go to the working fund reserve to make up the difference.
So resolution has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councillor Viss.
Yeah, just for some clarification here, it just should be on. There it is.
Okay.
We got ahead of ourselves here somewhere. We approved $15,000 originally when we said, because we're gonna store, I believe it was oak wood or whatever we get from the hydro. And that's on it. Now we're at the 26,000. That's 11,000 where we're at. There was no building permit. The building permit was only taken out on July the 23rd. So how did that building get started without a building permit? The next thing is it an engineered building? Is that why it's not been approved? What if it isn't approved? We ran into that before. We bought two buildings or two clad buildings, and we had to take them down and sell them. One we took a loss on and one we broke even. So here we are in the same predicament again 2 years later. So does it need to be an engineer build? What's the problem here? Like, why are we doing something before the way we should be doing things?
Through the chair, the original conversation in regards to the structure was for temporary use, which was discussed with the building official. Since that time, we've reevaluated the use of that facility, plus the storing of the facility, the stuff we're going to be using. So yeah, we added for a building permit based on the engineered drawings that are consistent with buying the tent.
Okay.
So there was thoughts of putting up in a temporary fashion on the commercial side on the south landfill, so that it would use for a specific reason and come down. The tent itself is more robust than we anticipated, so we went with the engineered and we applied for a building permit.
So that, in that essence, it can stay up,
And it's been issued.
and it has been
It
issued.
can stay up.
Yes.
But I just don't quite get that yet. We built the building in April and we applied for a permit in July.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have had to have a permit if it was just going to go up and come down.
Then why doesn't it come to this council if you're going to change things like that, at least so we know what's going on, rather than you come to something like this? It's just not a proper procedure, in my opinion. And maybe just me. I don't think it's proper procedure. We need to, if you're going to do this kind of changes, because of the number of things we have in here, I took a bit of time and looked around, and this year so far, we have exceeded more than 10 times the amount that we tendered for and the cost, which we took out of reserves. Then we had some other issues. We never even had it in our budget, and we made a resolution just to pass it. Well, we keep doing this. Where does that stop? Like, why are we doing a budget if we're not going to even follow close to it? It just some frustration when I look at these things, and just one after another. We've got to do a little bit better, folks. I mean, really, at least keep us informed. I don't have anything against them, but do it properly. We expect the people out there to do it right. You apply for a building permit, then you start the building. You don't put the building up and then you get the permit. No, obviously, if, say, for instance, foundation, how are you gonna check foundation? Now, this case, it is not a foundation, but if you allow one, why do you not allow the next? I just think procedure has to be done a little bit better, and that certainly make it a lot easier for us to understand when we have our meetings. And so that's where I'm at.
Wayne?
Well, Councilor Wissa, you make some good points there. We did go ahead with this and should have brought it to council earlier, but it was an oversight and it didn't come here. But the job went ahead, and so now we have a tent that's been put up properly. And we should have thought of having a budget to erect it in the first place, but the idea then wasn't really set in stone what exactly was going to happen, that it was going to cost 27,000 to erect it.
But I also believe, oh, go ahead.
Through the chair, the remainder of the purchase price would have covered off for Public Works Community Services to work together during the month of May, which was the intent of the schedule. They dropped that on us that we didn't have the month of May because, as the report says, they came back early. They started demoing and they wanted the material off site, and we had nowhere to go. For those that remember, from the 20th of April to the 20th of May, we were dealing with flooding, snow plowing, ditching, ice buildup, the whole shebang, and the crew was not available. So the reaction was they called, they said they're coming a month early. We required help to get that done.
Okay.
The original intent was for an in-house staff to do the job.
Do the construction, yes. Councilor Peacock?
Thank you. On page 106 of our agenda, with regard to the variances for the budget, the treasurer has provided us information with regard to that, and it says that the variance in Q2 is due to the unbudgeted erection of the storage tent. So that resolution was passed last December to purchase this tent. Should that purchase not go back to last year? Or did we not get the bill till this year? I'm just wondering the process on that.
The tent was purchased in 2024 and was expensed in 2024. The charges from LH North were incurred in April, and we received the invoice in May. That's why, or the invoices, excuse me, in May. That's why they're showing up in the Q2 variance report. They were not, but there was no budget for erection in the 2025 budget for two reasons. First, we started the budget in September of 2024 before we had even purchased the tent. So, and then the tent was purchased and closed, that kind of stuff. So it was not until near in December, I believe, that we paid for that tent. So we probably could have got into a final draft of the budget, but it was not anticipated when we started the budget erecting this. And then the second part is, as the director of operations pointed out, I believe the original plan was to purchase the tent for 10,000 or 15,000. We paid 10 and change, and direct it with internal labor. That plan changed. That's why it's an unbudgeted cost.
So the variance that's over then is due to the fact that these bills have already been paid?
They have not been paid, but the invoices have been received and they've been entered into our accounting system. They have not been paid. We're seeking permission to pay them. I have said, when originally received from LH North, I responded to them requesting a contract and a PO. And that's, I believe, what started the process with the director of operations. And this is what brought this resolution here, because they were unbudgeted. There was no contract and no purchase order. So that's what started this.
But
process.
again, it was planned all along to do it internally.
That was the original plan. That's why it was unbudgeted.
That's right. And then the OPG called one day and said, hey, we're coming tomorrow. Or, I mean, not tomorrow, but literally they were coming a month or so earlier. So because their staff was not able to erect it, someone had to be hired to put it up, because we wanted to have all this good wood to do whatever we're going to do with that was coming free from OPG.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't call me, so I don't know.
No, but that's the way it was, so. Wayne, you had your hand up?
I just, what the treasurer was saying, I just want to let everyone know, like in accounting, when you put the expense in, that's a debit, then you credit your payables. So that's why you got the expense there, but the credit's sitting in payables. When you cut the check, then it comes out of payables and comes out of your bank. We haven't done that yet.
Yeah. So
Credit check.
it's sitting, it's there, but we have not paid the invoices related to this. So that's what we're seeking permission
Yeah.
to do now. If you say we are not going to approve the resolution and not going to pay the invoices, then I will contra that, take them out of, and then we will be subject to whatever the arrangement we can make with LH North is, because
That's something that I would never want to see us do.
no, I don't want to say it either.
Never.
That's
Councillor
But-
Riss?
Well, Mayor Lucy, I hear all the, and it's something just went wrong. And I said at the beginning, we've got to be a little more careful and do things. In April, they could have come and they realized they couldn't do it themselves. All they had is said, folks, we got a problem here. We said 15,000, we're hoping to do it. We can't. It's going to cost us $25,000. We would have probably approved it. He could have paid the bill. So all my point is things are not getting done in the right order, and inform us and let's move on. Then we don't have to have these discussions, really. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna have the tent, it's up, it's gonna get paid. But the discussion is, from now on, let's do a little bit better job at informing everybody, and so he can pay his bills.
Yeah, and it all depends on timing. Sometimes you have only a couple days to make a decision. Do we all get an email asking if it's okay?
Exactly. It doesn't take much to send stuff out and around, say you have an issue with this, and we have a number to
We can
follow.
do that. Okay, yes, Councillor Peacock.
Sorry, just one further question. It does note that there is some items stored in that tent from the blue building. Is that tent then locked or secure in any way, or?
Through the chair, the site that is on is currently unaccessible by the public, and it has a door on each end that has been closed.
Okay. Okay,
And I've mentioned it before, and that resolution that came forward to us to purchase the tent, I recall at that time that there was no indication as to where that funding was to come from to pay that. So I would like in future that it be noted that if we have to get something that isn't in the budget, to ensure that we advise the treasurer as to where the funds are to come from.
I
Because
think the purchase of the tent was paid for, or it was in the previous budget?
it was in the 2020, no,
it was an unbudgeted item because it came in 2024, but it was paid for in 2024
Right.
as recorded.
Mhm.
But overall in the landfill department, there was funding available. The
Yes,
landfill
cover
department
it.
was below its total budget for the year. So it was just funds were allocated from a different line item to that line item.
just makes it hard to track then when you go back to see what the expenses were, because you're sharing costs in different departments and
I agree. And in a perfect world, we would never have to do that. But unfortunately, things come up during the year and
Right.
you can't possibly
Happens in your own
forecast
household.
every,
Happens in your own household.
yeah.
You know, you have the best of intentions and then all of a sudden the roof is leaking.
Yeah, and yes.
So,
Mhm.
okay, so we have the resolution. It's been moved and seconded. I shall call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have the strong mayor powers. We have a rather long resolution. And we had a report on this as well. And quite personally, I think that it's something we have to be really careful about. We don't want it, but if the province, no, I wouldn't. No, I don't think any municipality should want it because that means one person can walk in the door here and fire someone.
Yeah.
That's not the way it works. You have a council.
Democratic.
No, it's lost, totally lost.
Yeah.
And the problem is the province can decide tomorrow that you've got a strong mayor, even if you don't want it. Just like these other, and like the information in here, of the people that have it and say, we don't want it. But it works fine if you're all, you know, use common sense and work together. But if you get the wrong person in the wrong place, it can really make a problem. And
That's
it
the
takes-
rumblings, lots of rumblings about that. If the wrong people are around the table, like, there could be some real destructive stuff happening.
That's right. Well, and really, people go to vote every year, or every 4 years. I'm sorry. People vote every 4 years for 5 people to sit this council. They don't vote for one person to make all the decisions.
We're not-
So,
A dictator is the most efficient form of government.
Absolute power.
Yes,
Absolutely.
True, so the benevolent part doesn't usually last very long.
Mhm.
no, but we just have to, you know, we have to make sure that we see if it does come our way and we're mandated that we have to go this direction, that we're very careful in all that happens in the future.
Well, and the statement was like, this is supposed to be for building houses faster and all that. That was the big push for this strong mayor's power and that. Well, let's face it, 95% of these municipalities building houses and that ain't gonna, you know, ain't gonna rely on a strong mayor. Like, that's ridiculous.
You know, I think I could probably see the sense in it when you've got a large city like Ottawa or Toronto, where you've got 30 people sitting around a table. It takes a lot of people to allow that mayor to do something still against the rest of council. But when you only have 5 or 7, you know, all you have to have is someone that's underhanded, and you could have a lot of trouble.
It's the same, like, there was a disconnect there. What's housing, like, all this housing that they put it through has got to do with being a strong mayor, and like, and 95% of the municipalities that are, you know, not
Yeah.
concerned about housing, a lot of them, minimal.
Right.
Some housing.
Okay, so we have the resolution. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. On page 72 to 103, we have the revision of bylaw 30/2025, which is the waste management and landfill punch cards. It has been moved and seconded, is now open for discussion. Yes.
I think we did what we set out
Yeah.
to do. I think if
Mhm.
the people don't follow through with it now, they have the opportunity, and so. The only thing I have on page 85, do I read this wrong? This is number 2, the item amount on the cards can be reduced at the time of purchase at the request of the owner. They can decide how many punches they want, or $10 punch. Can you explain to me what you're doing there?
Just in case, if you don't think you need all the punches, you can have a cheaper card. You have to pay less.
You might 4 punches instead of 24 punches or
Yeah.
12 punches. And then the remaining,
Oh, they
Get punched out
just to make it more efficient.
This is, could be anybody, okay, and I was thinking back onto the most 10, and okay, now that makes sense, and yeah, all right, that's fine. Yeah, I misunderstood that, I wondered why would we do that for them, but we not, that's everybody, fine,
Yeah.
that's all. I think we did what we set out, or I did anyway, for the help of the,
Okay, so we do have a resolution. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just wondering, is it going to be difficult to track the letters from the property owners confirming occupancy of the as stated in number 3 on page 85? Is that going to be something to?
No, through the chair, both the letters went out. We had a response back from one of the people that was needed some attention, and we've dealt with that. And the presidents contact us. How do we go about it? Get a letter from the property owner and come here, and we'll handle it.
Okay, perfect. Again, we have the resolutions moved in second. Any further questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have the budget variance report as of June 30th, and then we've received it separately, so it's on our desk. It came to us with our package. Our treasurer is here, and page 1 and 2 have been replaced. The section that has been replaced is the variance column. So, Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I wasn't sure how the new program worked. As far as the budget information that we received, I'm presuming this is the new program data that we have here. The colors, the different you know, X's and exclamations and check marks, and there was nothing that went with it, so I didn't know what kind of a legend you had to go with this.
Yeah, so the color coding on the first set of pages, red means, so this is based on the actual to budget column, I believe is what that Councilor Pickard is referring to. This is based on how much of the budget we have spent versus how much of the year has elapsed. In a perfect world, half the year is gone, we've spent half the budget. However, you know, there are some projects that with timing differences and stuff that won't perfectly work on that schedule. But if we are red, that means we have spent proportionately more of the budget than the year has elapsed, which potentially means by the end of the year at this current rate, we will be in a negative variance. If we are in yellow, that means we are basically on trend. But you know, it could go either way. And then if we're green, that means we are very
green.
good. The trend will be to underspend the budget.
Mhm.
So that's the explanation of the actual budget.
Mhm.
And the check mark and exclamation and X's basically are the same
Same
thing,
thing.
just represented a slightly different way. And that just because otherwise, to be honest, if you were to put this color coding scheme on every line item in here, it would get very messy.
Mhm.
So the check mark system seemed to be easier to convey that message to.
So when we're looking at the new report, as far as the line items in the budget, I'm thinking that perhaps do they roll up into different categories?
Yeah, so so if we go back to if you go deeper into your package to the details,
Mhm.
I'll just put this, so these pages are your traditional
Yes.
ones that you're used to seeing.
Mhm.
Whoops, and they, each line item rolls up into the departments. So you'll see there's administration, on page 1.
Mhm.
So there's administration, agency, building, bylaw. Those are the departments that we're all familiar with.
Mhm.
Okay. So those items roll up into that. Now this page 1 and page 3, or sorry, I guess it'd be page, page 1 and I guess it's 3. These are for operational expenses. They do not include capital. Okay, capital is found on page 7. But it's rolled up the same way: administration, agency, building. Okay. All right. So that's just to note that. But they roll up. And then on page, then you got page 2 is a graph that basically gives you a visual comparison budget versus year-to-date second quarter. Page 3 are operating expenses, and they're rolled up into different types of expenses. So you see there's agency, contracted, maintenance. So
Mhm.
for example, contracted maintenance may include public works, may include Norwest Rec, may include fire, or even administration. But those are just the broad category of contracted maintenance. So that contracted services are professional services, but again, they represent across different departments. So this is a way you can see it. Again, salaries would be an easy one. Like almost every department has salaries, but we can see where we are relative for the salaries.
When I looked at the cemetery budget, just
Yeah.
to compare as to how it broke down in the new categories, what I think I figured out is that the supervisor salary, the honorariums, and the administrative services for admin department, that's all one line item in the new budget system? Same as the software fee, the general expense, the equipment maintenance, and the cemetery license, they seem to all be
Yes.
grouped together
They'd be grouped
into one.
together into one.
To
So
that, sorry, but to that fact, why is the cemetery license so high this year?
I'll have to review go through the cemetery.
I did send an email with
Oh,
the
did you?
questions that I have, yes.
I was, I apologize, Councillor Peacock. I was tied up with other tasks today, so I didn't have time to answer your emails today. But
Okay.
I will answer them in the next
due
couple
course, yep,
days, yeah.
yep.
So. And. Yeah, I'll check with the cemetery license why it was.
Okay,
Why that was the case. So the idea being with this is basically you got high level and then there's more detail for you to drill down
Right.
into. So rather you don't have, so, you know, if you are happy with the cemetery, then you don't have to drill down into the details. But if you wish to drill down into the details, you can. And basically it's set up so that each of it's very high level, then it's higher level with these
Mhm.
and then like I said, then it's the traditional ones that you're more used to. I just felt that this format gives, you know, people the opportunity instead of having to go through each page, you know, one by one to figure out what they're interested in. They can you know, start that way. So, but overall, we are tracking, you know,
Doing,
per budget. Yeah, we should.
we're doing well.
So.
Any questions? Councillor Biss.
Yes, well, I think I like the system here. I don't go one to one over each page at all I'm looking at. And when I look at 95%, I say, whoa, wait a minute, that's utilities. So you see those things, throw it out. So I looked really at the total amount. We're at 52%, and some will vary here or there, and some may be held back, some are already paid for. But as long as, so I like this kind of a sheet, okay? I think that works well for me. I don't know about anybody else, but I like it that way.
Okay. Perfect. All righty, the next item is Bill 9, Municipal Accountability Act. It's page 109 to 125 in our agenda here. And it is for our information and direction. So I would imagine that our CEO will be able to tell us what we are looking for here or what we've got to watch out for.
Well, there's a few things in here. They've got the on page 109, the 3 bullets from the last time this bill was out before the election. The province wants to have a standard municipal code of conduct and a standard municipal investigation process. And they're talking about, besides having municipal integrity commissioners, there will be provincially appointed integrity commissioners. And they have the key part about all of it is what spurred this on was some serious incidents with some council members and other places in the past. So they wanted to get put some teeth into dealing with bad behavior of council members. And so this thing reads that if the municipal integrity commissioner investigates and finds that someone has done some significant transgression, that municipal integrity commissioner would write a report about it and send it to the provincial integrity commissioner, who would look at that and determine, do their own review of everything and determine whether or not they send a letter to the council. And if they do, they would be sending a letter that said, you should remove person X from the council.
But it's still up to council to
Yes.
vote.
Yep, so the key item about all that is that some stakeholders say council should have nothing to do with that. it should just go to the courts. You know, the Integrity Commissioner of Ontario should just say, I think this guy should be removed, punt it to court, they can decide what to do. But the way it reads, it goes to council, and what's supposed to happen is you need this vote of the council to remove the person. And the person who's the subject of this wouldn't be able to vote.
I was going to say,
But,
and it won't be unanimous.
So on a 5-person council, you'd have to get 4 people voting to remove. Whereas some stakeholders say that that's too high a threshold and it should be 2/3. So if you got a 5-member council, 3 out of the 4 would have to say that we should let this person go out of their office. The other thing I think on here on page whatever it is, there's the AMO comments about it. This thing's in a committee now. That's on pages 122 to 124. And what the AMO also added is they need a range of penalties. Right now, there are some penalties. They're listed in the report. You get suspended for pay for 90 days or something. They'd like to see some other kinds of measures in there, like unable to be a committee head or something like that. Some more things that they think are stringent. But you know, that's not really relevant for us. For our council, it's, I guess, do you think that council should have any role in determining whether someone should be removed from office? And if you think the council should be voting on that, do you think it should be an unanimous vote or the supermajority 2/3? Or the other option is for council to just not comment at all on this thing. We would send something into, again, the standing committee on Bill 9 there, looking at all of it. And the legislature is supposed to come back on October 20th, so we're not going to pass Bill 9 until that time. So just what council thinks about that. Do they want to comment? What's your views?
Councillor Viss?
Just one comment, and on page 110, the main controversy, however, involves removal from the office from a council member and a serious breach. Okay, explain to me what a serious breach is. I looked through the whole thing. I can't find even a type of example. AMO has the same thing again, serious misconduct. Well, give us some example. What's a serious thing? I don't know. I think, in my opinion, any in-camera session, if you continue to leak that type of information, that I think is a serious, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. Maybe 10 other people say, what are you talking about? So what is this serious breach?
Well, I know that one of the top ones is anything to do with sexual harassment.
Okay.
That you don't even have to question that. That is serious.
But see, there's nothing spelled out here, gives you some indication through the bill what they're presenting or aim. So that's the only the question I had. You need to be almost a lawyer because you can interpret things so many different ways of this, and I'm not qualified to do that. So
well, that's a valid criticism that has been, aired by other parties. What is a serious breach? What are these things that are going to be? If you breach it, what are they? What do you have to do? And it's not defined, eh? Yeah. It says on page 114 that the province is going to come up with some code of conduct, but that ain't even here yet. So who knows what those things are?
Calvert?
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll have to have that code of conduct and all that, but they have some kind of disciplinary, repercussions for someone misbehaving. You'd have to have some kind of, a progressive disciplinary or something like that.
Theft is also
that would take a whole, chart of what the steps are and what's going to happen. But I think they're a long ways from solving anything.
You can send in this comment to them or just go with AMO.
Well, it's up to council, but the serious breach, who knows what that is? So, but this idea about should councils be involved in this decision, like the idea about the Integrity Commissioner of Ontario, if they think this person should be removed, maybe they should have the power to do it, or give it to the court and a judge, and they can make a call.
The unfortunate thing is the court system's so flogged and behind, it took 3 years before it came to court.
Why can't the Integrity Commissioner of Ontario then just say that you're out?
Yes, Councillor Peacock?
What happens if we are forced to have strong mayor power? Does that then give the mayor the opportunity to say, Counselor, you're gone?
Mhm.
No?
No, how the process works here is, because there was concerns about that this will be a political football. Somebody on council that's voting against other people, well, let's get rid of them this way, but it's got to be, the code of conduct, there's got to be a breach of the code of conduct, so that's the kind of check and balance for that. But a strong mayor power wouldn't be able to utilize this to eliminate a councillor. Really, I don't see how that would happen.
I don't think we need, I don't care if we make a comment or not. Let's
Okay.
see where it all falls out.
Okay, yeah.
I
I
just, in
think
my
it needs to be
opinion,
more like spelled out. They're a long ways from getting anywhere with this by the looks of it. There's, you know, it's.
There's a fly hanging around here.
Uh-huh.
I thought I almost had him. It's landing here.
That's assault.
Is that assault with a deadly weapon? I'm out of here. Okay, the next one is the 2025 staff appreciation, lunch, brunch, whatever. And there's a resolution that has been moved and seconded in regards to having a luncheon, and they are, rather than having, or the volunteer firefighters will still have their Christmas party, but municipal employees would get the luncheon as well as a $50 Visa card in appreciation, right?
Yeah, there was some conversation about having, instead of a lunch and a Visa card, to have some type of an event, like perhaps go to the curling club for an afternoon. But we haven't been able to get feedback from the staff about whether that's really what they would like. So we didn't put that forward here. But I don't know what council thinks about that, or we can go to the stick gun range and shoot. I guess, I don't know. It's supposed to be some kind of a team building type thing, but maybe we don't want to go there. It could be an accident prearranged for somebody.
but how come you looked at me when you said that?
I was looking at Carrie, but you were in the way.
Yeah. So anyways, but the idea was let's have some pancakes, something different there.
Oh, they didn't mention a different luncheon. I'm just asking. This is coming in September. I need to know. Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. When I look at the variance for the budget, we don't have enough funds in it for this time around. Was the Visa bill for the gift cards paid in January from last year? Perhaps that's why?
Yeah, so what happened is they were purchased in December on the treasurer's credit card, and then the statement arrived in
Paid in
January,
January.
so it was paid in January. So
Okay,
that'll happen again
Sure.
this year, so.
It'll happen again.
bye now.
I don't think I would say that to my staff. I think the staff deserve to have something. What is your discussion? The resolution's been moved and seconded, so is there any discussion on behalf of council, or? And we'll leave it up to Carrie and her organizers to decide what kind of meal they want.
Whatever.
Pardon?
That's good.
Yes, Councillor Peacock?
Last year, I believe we had a later lunch and then the staff were off for the afternoon. Am I correct in that? So just wondering are we looking at the same thing? It just seemed to be like, here's your lunch, goodbye kind of thing. It seems like a lot of staff, I don't think even know who the other people are, and within the other departments, I don't know. It just seemed to be that there wasn't a lot of camaraderie or anything. It was just like, here's your food, see you later.
Well, I found there was lots of camaraderie around the table we were serving the food at. And I think a lot of them know each other. But yeah, they were, as I believe it was a gift from the management or from the council, that they would have the rest of the afternoon off, because it's ridiculous to close the office at 12 or 12:30 and tell everyone to come back at 2. like by the time they come back, they're going home. So just let them have the afternoon off. If that's council's feeling. So we do have the resolution for the appreciation meal and the $50 gift card, and the firefighters will have their own event for Christmas.
Correct.
Any more comment? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next item we have is a cancellation of the RFP 10/2025 municipal office renovations and issue new RFP. That is the resolution. It's been moved and seconded. It is to enter into a contract to cancel the one and issue an RFP for certain work in the blue building, and to issue an RFQ for heating units in the blue building and the municipal office. So it is open for discussion. There's two resolutions that be voted on separately. The first one is the cancellation, 3. I only have 2 here. Okay, I have this and an and for the second one.
Third one.
Pardon? Oh, okay. Oh, I see the bottom and is here. I didn't notice it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. So there is 3. So the first one is the cancellation of the RFP that we discussed last council meeting. Any discussion? It was moved and seconded. Councillor Viss?
Yes, I think definitely we've got to cancel because they didn't fulfill their job. There was 3 items they didn't even bid on. I guess the sad story is it got by too many people before it came to council. We wouldn't have had all that lengthy discussion on it because it was not valid. I mean, so again, we got to do a little bit better job on that.
Well, I think we weren't going to do it because of this anyway.
A good thing somebody picked it up, because just imagine if we'd approved that, and wow, we'd have been surprised. On the third resolution, though, for the blue building, okay, we'll deal with that one. Okay, that's fine.
First one?
Yeah.
I will get confused. So the first resolution is to
Cancel it, that's correct.
cancel the first one.
We're rescinding the resolution that
First
awarded it.
resolution, right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So any further discussion on rescinding the first resolution? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just one question. Do they know that, does the company know that we canceled already, or are they still thinking that this work is coming forward to them?
I'm sure they will be told one way or the other when the time is right.
I instructed the asset manager not to inform them that they were awarded the contract, and that if they'd inquire, that the administration is reviewing the contract pending discussion with
right.
further discussion with council.
Wonderful.
So they are not, they
Good.
should not be expecting the contract.
Super.
Through the chair of that previous report, also option B would have had that same skill set. We would have awarded and worked with to facilitate the projects that were covered under capital. We would have had a breakdown of their costs. So obviously we come to you guys so we can talk to the vendor.
Mhm.
The lowest bid upon evaluation was not complete as per Councillor Viss. Therefore, we come back to you to say, what would you like us to do?
So we are now canceling that one. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The second resolution has been moved and seconded to enter into a contract with Dykstra Roofing to perform the work outlined in the RFP 10. Oh. Well, that's rescinding the bylaw? 62/2025?
Yep.
Okay, so that's rescinding the bylaw
Right.
because of those items being missed. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then thirdly, recommending the authorization of administration to issue a new RFP with a scope of work focusing on the blue building only, and to issue a new RFQ to procure a suspended heater for the blue building and a gas fireplace for the back office at the municipal office.
Right.
This is the third one. It's been moved and seconded. It's open for discussion. Yes.
Okay, now, well, when I looked through the capital expenditure on there, on the blue building, insulated vapor barrier, we have 12,000 budgeted. And the increase the height of the north garage is 3,500 for a total of 15,500. What changed all this since our budget that we're now at 77,000?
Wayne?
Yep, what the plan is to not do any of the work here. And those items at the bottom of page 128 for the this here, we're asking council permission to use those budgets just for the building.
Yes, I understand that, but why have we all of a sudden, all these changes now to the blue, for the blue building when that wasn't brought up at the budget time? We approved 15,500 for the blue building, and now you're asking for 77,000. I know you're moving from one to the other, but that's not the point. The point is the blue building, you all of a sudden from 15,000 that we approved, you're asking now 77,000. That's my point. You see what I'm saying? That's where we're going out of whack all the time. It's so difficult for us to go do a budget, and then you come along and say, well, I think I'll take another $50,000 to do more work on it. Really? I'd like to operate like that.
Through the chair, I don't have my budget book in front of me, but I'm fairly certain that the office roof replacement and admin was in there for that value, and the one suspended heater for 6,500 was included in the budget. However, the blue door or the back, front and back door replacement and the back office heater were not included in the 2024-2025 budget. I do know that. They were added on based on consultation with staff at one of our staff meetings, and they wanted to affect some change in this building. So it was put out as the RFP, all inclusive, which is why we brought it back to you. The scope of work changed after the budget, to Councillor Viss's point, based on some discussions with council internally. To follow up, the blue building vapor barrier and insulation, we're probably going to take that on with community services. We've already priced the material. We're just trying to schedule the job, so to speak. There is some vendors required to change some lights for us and do some spray foam along the bottom of the building. We would like to get that blue building done this year.
We have to for the records. Councillor Peacock?
What is the reason to have the, reframe the new jam and increase the height in the door? What's that for?
Through the chair, currently the generator and the backhoe do not go end to end. We have to cross the septic field to get access on this end. So it restricts us in the spring where we cannot get in and out on the one end. We've really been fighting with the water, so to speak, by loading it in the back end. We can only get so far. And if we have to roll out the generator midwinter, we'd have to snowplow the septic field for the office to get access to it. So it was an addition that was added to the budget to move the header 2 feet higher so that we could get access 12 months a year.
Okay, so that was in the budget.
My other question is, it indicates here, supply and install 1/2-inch OSB on the walls and ceiling. Is that fire code? Does it not need to be drywall, especially when it's permanent records that we're looking to protect?
Through the chair, we have drywall around the existing infrastructure that is our current filing system. The intent was that this would be a training / storage heated space type of thing where we could work in that area.
Okay.
If there is an add-on for archives later on, it could be facilitated just like there was on the inside currently, where we've taken certain space, vapor barrier, drywall, insulation, heaters, and if that at one point in time has to be expanded, we would take from the existing heated footprint and make it so that it was more fire retardant.
Okay. Any further questions? So the resolution has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have now the 2026 municipal and school board election alternative voting. We have a resolution that has been moved and seconded to use the voting methods as we had, I believe, the previous year of election. Yes.
Can I go back to this one that we just
Oh,
finished?
sure.
Just the next page here about the HVAC system here. And what we're looking at in
Oh,
the
yeah.
future for having automation now or one of those companies of the sorts to do a assessment of the building.
So through the chair, as everybody's aware, this building was relatively open concept initial design back in the 80s. It was initial design. It was 2 complete open spaces. Therefore, the 2 units would suffice. The challenge that happened in 2005, when they converted it to individual office spaces, they did not change the ductwork. They just put the 2 units and dealt with people's individual needs in each office. In 2017, when we approached to replace the furnaces, we were up in the ceiling and it's a nightmare up there. It's not the way you would build a building if you're building today. There was some thought as for putting one rooftop unit, but the ducting doesn't allow that to happen. So we've been struggling somewhat with the individual needs of each office complex. Some people want space heaters, some people want a t-shirt, some people want ice cream. It's a mixed bag depending on the type of weather. So airflow is a challenge in this building with all the individual walls. It would take quite an infrastructure upgrade with the ducts to go to a single rooftop air. And again, structurally, we looked at it, putting it on the roof. It's just not there. We will, as Wayne's report says, we will carry a cost assessment in the 2026 budget if we show to choose to pursue that.
So we'd be consulting like thermal or somebody. to
Somebody,
come have a.
we've had various vendors in the building already when we fight with these issues, looking, and we've been up and we've added dampers to try to isolate a certain area. We've added dampers, community services added dampers to certain runs to deflect some heat to another location. So
So all these are manual then, there's no automation.
there is no automation. It's all manual.
That's the trouble.
And then as the season changes, we tend to go back up in
Yeah,
the ceiling
okay.
sometimes and manually move them again.
It's open the window, shut the door type of deal. It's not-
Unfortunately, we can't open the windows of the building.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's.
It's not the 2025 design of a office environment, let's call it that.
But I'm sure if we get someone to actually really thoroughly look, like you say, spend the money to get a national, an automation guy to look at this stuff,
Yeah, we would need
have
a,
to have a pretty thorough.
absolutely. And again, to Wayne's report, we'd have to tear the ceiling down and we'd have to make a consent, like, we'd have to do the study first, which would be an automation to the existing building, which we don't have. We don't have the space we'd have to redo some area to put a PLC in to monitor temperature gauges in each office so that everybody had individual comfort control. And personally, I don't think we can get the right airflow to everybody at the right time with the current configuration. So it's going to be a fairly robust project. And as Wayne's report says, we will put it in the 2026 capital.
But as I say, consulting with them, they got ways of doing stuff that's quite advanced.
Okay, yes, Councillor.
Yes, on that, if I may, I hope we don't spend too much money on doing a study. Nothing against having a study done, but you see, the original building had 3 main rooms and the ductwork is in there. And we've got how many offices now to split off that ductwork? I don't know if it'll ever work. It just not meant for that. If it would have been an office type of building, that ductwork would have been in proportion to come to each room. And I don't know, Dan, if you can ever get to that. I hear you.
I'll just come back. I work with guys that do this all the time. They change,
Yeah.
put up walls and that, and they readjust the automation system so it works.
We'd
be done.
have a look at it, but I hope we don't spend a whole pile of
These
money
guys
on
do
that.
it, like, they know it before they even,
Okay. Yeah.
Through the chair, we've had mechanical contractors here to look at that. And again, the actual, we can't get enough airflow to the far side of the building, or we can't get enough airflow there without manually going up and switching a damper.
Okay.
So the automation point, and once the study's done, it'll show us what our weaknesses are. We probably need blowers on maybe downsize to 4-inch duct.
Yeah.
Get some air movement. The biggest problem is we can't get the air movement to half the building. So it'll be a study, an engineered study, and they'll come back with a report and we'll come up with a capital cost that'll be presented after the report is done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Blowers is where you're going to move that around.
Councillor Peacock?
When we did the building assessment, was this noted in that report? Does anybody know?
Through the chair, the building assessments looked at the age and the service life of the existing infrastructure across all our buildings in a generic fashion. A standalone operation of airflow in a building was not encountered.
Okay. All righty, so the next item is the 2026 municipal and school board election alternative voting. And this is in regards to using the same system and same company, I believe, for the election in 2026. It has been moved and seconded. It is now open for discussion.
Yeah, fine.
Councillor Peacock.
So this will be a 2026 budget line item then for at an estimated 16,900?
Yes, but we put money away every year for every
Yes.
election.
Yes.
Yeah, $6,000 each
Yeah.
time. So, okay.
Every year.
Yeah.
And that is quite a bit different than it used to be when it was paper.
Yes, it was.
Way down from using paper, yes. Any further discussion? Okay, I call a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have reports of committees. Sorry, Mayor's report, the bylaws. Bylaws, the first one is the agreement in regards to Shout Media, Inc. In July, we deferred this pending receipt of the scope of work document. It has been received and forms Schedule B of the bylaw. So we are now able to vote. This bylaw has been moved and seconded on using Shout Media, Inc. to upgrade our website. Further discussion? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. On page 136, it says, client obligations, appoint a single contact person for feedback regarding the preparation. So that's someone in administration, like
I would
deputy
imagine
clerk?
so.
Yeah, that's you, Judy. Okay. And will be invoiced yearly for this then?
And we are currently as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And the other question, oh, is the information that is on our existing website going to be updated prior to what they refer to as the migration onto the new site? For instance, the business and agribusiness directories and things like that? Will those things be updated prior to?
Through the chair, yes, as we go through each section, we'll work with each of the departments. And before they put it live, everything will be up to date.
Okay, and the 1 hour training session, is that for more than one of our staff or just?
Definitely, we'll have all the staff involved.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, thank you.
Any further discussion? Yes, yeah.
Is there any way of like, this was another one of these things that wasn't included in our budget, eh?
Right.
No.
Undoubtedly, so
Yeah.
is there any way you put in the contract or somewhere that a review of some time within us? When they look at it and if there needs to be an update or something like that, or
Yes.
so we can throw it in,
Mhm.
sort of a budgetary item,
Mhm.
something like that.
No, that's right. Okay, so we do have the bylaw. I'm sorry, this is a bylaw. Been moved and seconded, all in favor? And then we have the revision bylaw 30/2025, which is in regards to the landfill punch cards. And this is just changing some of the stuff that we had in regards to the trailers. It's been moved and seconded, this bylaw. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have the bylaw in regards to the contract for the RFP office complex renovations.
To be repealed?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, there's the word repeal.
Mhm.
Repealed. yeah.
Okay, yes. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Then we have some petitions of communications, which is Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act, Battery Energy Storage Systems, Rail Safety Week proclamation. We do have a resolution in regards to the Rail Safety Week proclamation request. We do this every year, and normally we don't worry too much about them, but this is a safety matter, and it should be passed by us so that it's there for all of us to know about the safety in regards to railways. It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Yes.
Just wondering if we could go back to page 153 with regard to the village of Burke Falls. Should we have any concerns with regard to this type of battery energy storage system facility that they have concerns for?
Yeah, I see that there's something like handed out to council on Friday. I don't, I guess we didn't add to the agenda, but it was there. The Potentia company they submitted what's called a pre-engagement confirmation notice that they want to go ahead with a battery energy storage system in the municipality on lands north of the cemetery. So that's what that notice was about. But this here, the village of Burke Falls, I wondered what was happening here because we just got this notice that this company wants to do one of these things in our municipality. The village of Burke Falls is surrounded by the township of Armour. This area is all west of Perry Sound. I guess that's kind of like Muskoka. It's not far to get into Algonquin Park and all that. The village of Burke's Falls is a cottager type
Yes.
place where the township of Armour is a township that surrounds this village here. And a few years back, I wasn't able to sort of exactly when, but they started working on this in 2022. A company called Solar Bank with the township of Armour. And the application went to the IESO for this BESS and it was approved. So now they've done, if you go on the Township of Armour website, there's umpteen studies and public engagement sessions and everything that are on the website. So they're doing the process to get it approved. Well, what is occurring is the village of Burke's Falls is opposed to it. And not only the village of Burke's Falls, but there are a couple of other places, one called Ryerson, called South Water, in the vicinity, that are also opposed to it. So what you can kind of see is the host municipality is on board with doing it, but the others aren't. Now, the concerns, I think that they're listed in the village of Burke's Falls is all about environmental concerns and so forth, eh? So I can't comment whether they have any validity or not. But, that's what it's about. But there's municipalities opposed to the host municipality going ahead with this with the company. And the IESO has already approved it, so I can't really comment where it will end up, but the same thing could happen here. The township of Gillies could support a resolution to have a battery energy storage system there, and the unincorporated township of O'Connor could be opposed to it.
Okay. The next item we have here, the Canadian Land Access Systems, the class. In regards, Bill C2, the proceeds of crime, money laundering, and terrorist financing act, that will get you kicked off council. Any money laundering. Elect, respect, pledge. And the Community School Alliance 2025 Annual General Meeting. Not sure if they were asking for a representative from us. Okay, that's for G then. Okay, so we will go on to G, where on page 164, they are looking again to see if anyone is interested here. And I was on it when it first began for a few years. And I believe there was someone from Nebing on there for a few years. Not quite sure if there was someone else. Shunya as well? Okay, so that's 3 municipalities. Did have a representative on there. Most of it was done by, at that time, just on the phone.
Sorry.
Perhaps now it's Zoom.
But just to go back to this money laundering thing,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, we skipped ahead on it, but we do have taxpayers that pay their property tax bills in cash for multiple properties. And I often have deposits above $10,000. So I don't know if we want, I mean, like the point that these guys are making would apply to us as well.
I'm not too worried about it. I don't think.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think it's government overreach trying to limit the use of cash.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's federal. So whether it's something that we can affect much change on is, I guess, a big challenge, but
So I would make you aware that,
Yes.
that we do, that this does happen a few times a year in our municipality, so.
They're good savers.
Cash is
And I'm
king.
sure the guys at the table know who the people that pay are.
Not me, I'm not, I don't.
All you Dutch farmers or.
Well, now you've given it away.
These two aren't.
That's really breaking it down there when you get to the Dutch, now they get into the.
Now you were in real trouble. You better pull that statement back. In other words, or for in regards to the Community Schools Alliance, if a counselor is interested in putting their name forth, they have some meetings during the year. At the time when they first started this is when the province was closing schools down everywhere. And that's why I put my name forward then too, and was, I think, 3 or 4 years on that. But now that doesn't seem to be something that they're looking at doing anymore. But I guess it's better to stay ahead of it in case it does come up again. So if anyone's interested, just let us know and we can pass the resolution to forward your name as a representative if you wish. So, okay. All righty. The next one is the petitions and communications. We have the municipality of Tweed proposals to Doug Ford. It's in regards to OPP costing. And then the AMO policy update with comments on Bill 9, OPP billing review, waste management, and the OMA consultations at the AMO conference. The Thunder Bay District Social Services Area Board update from the board, and the U.S. decision to raise softwood lumber duties. And finally, the elemental energy pre-engagement confirmation notice under the LT2E1 RFP. Anyone? Yes.
I just wanted to comment that Elemental Energy, they will be coming with that consultant firm CRD Energy Consultants, August 27th to make a presentation to council. And at that time, they're going to be looking for something that's called a municipal support confirmation. So it's the form that the IESO has put out, and there's a number of criteria on it. We did have it at a council meeting earlier, and they need to get council support on those factors that are mentioned in this support confirmation in order to apply. So it's a make it or break it. So they're coming on the 27th to ask for that.
Okay.
Okay. Any new business, Councillor Calvert? We usually do it in October, I think. So I'm sure that Chris will come with some dates.
Through the chair, we'll look at the budget cycle when first draft is, and we'll try to schedule something between that and the first snowfall, somewhere in that range.
Okay, that was it. Councillor Camphoff?
nothing for this meeting, but just curious if Chris can let me know when the first snowfall is gonna be, that'd be good.
Through the chair, November 19th.
At what time? He wants the time.
It's a very important birthday for me.
Councillor Viss?
The only thing I enjoyed the last 3 weeks. It was a wonderful vacation from meetings, and you know what? I didn't have any calls complaining about anything. I said, what a lucky time to be off. So enjoyed it, and I hope everybody else enjoyed their time off too. And it saves staff some time putting stuff together. So again,
Right.
it was a nice time to have a little time off.
Okay, and Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I did have calls. With regard to trucks on Berry Drive, I believe that that was handled internally. I think the staff were going to contact the contractor on corner to
Got an email on it.
to have the to be mindful of the trucks on Berry Drive.
Oh, I remember. that.
Apparently they were, we were told that they were empty, but the fella that I had emails from said they stand to be corrected. They were not empty trucks that were using it. So
Mm,
I haven't heard back from him, so I'm presuming that some action has been taken on that.
I'm sure they will.
With regard to the railway fire, do we have any idea on expenses and invoices and the status of all of that at all?
It's in progress.
Oh, okay. Now, those around the table may think that I'm loopy, but would there be any consideration to using the Slate River former ball field that we maintain with grass cutting yearly and on a regular basis to put a dog park there? We have $300,000 in parkland, and I'm just wondering if some parkland fees could be used to entertain the thought of putting a dog park there. Perhaps it's something that we could look at in 2026, but just, I don't know if it's ever been brought forward to a council at all, but the land is looked after. I realize that you have to go through the gates of the agriplex, so that may be an issue, but just a thought. We've got so many residents moving from the city out here, and perhaps they would appreciate if a dog park. Just a thought.
It's been brought to administration. Now they can take a look at it.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Um,
We can. We're all going like
No,
this.
no.
When you have 10, 20, 30 acres, you don't need a dog. But
but not everybody does.
no,
No, I
no,
know.
that's true.
I did email the CAO this morning and he was going to look into it. The racetrack is having the monster trucks on a weekend that they aren't supposed to. So
Fly.
they're in contravention of their bylaw, so now this part, I'm just looking for some direction because we had a discussion at the last meeting with regard to one investment and that prudent fund, things like that. When I look at the existing budget that we have a loan for SNEMS, a loan for the municipal office, we will have a loan for the fire department for the vehicles. Public Works has a loan. All of these loans are a burden to the taxpayer. With included in our taxes that we got this year, it says as far as the debt repayment, it's $31.41 for every $1,000 of your taxes. Can we not possibly, because we have been so fortunate to have some unexpected revenue, can we not pay off a loan or fund ourselves? Or what is our return on investment? Are we having to pay more interest for these loans, or are we getting a better interest rate with an investment?
Just one correction. The ambulance is not they pay through
Okay.
us.
Yes.
It's not a burden to our taxpayer.
Okay.
And I believe that these items, they're good questions, should come to us at the budget time.
Okay.
Okay? Because you haven't been brought up to you yet. I think it would only be fair if you come back to us, unless you're coming back for another loan with percentages. But
Mhm.
the last meeting, we talked about a 7% income and a 3% costs. So you're gaining 4%. Did you get him?
I haven't got him yet.
He's a sneaky guy.
Going down.
Yeah, but
So,
I mean,
I'm
all
not-
these things are good questions when we do the budget in the fall, because then they'll be valid.
Yeah,
Like-
I'll just move on along with you said with the SNEMS loan, which isn't a loan we actually pay. The office building loan isn't an actual loan that we pay either.
No,
It's money
Sorry.
that we lent ourselves.
that's right.
So this is what it goes back to the area. So it's money we had lent ourselves.
That's right.
So perhaps we could lend ourselves others rather than,
But
just
if you're,
just a thought.
if you're making a 4% income,
Mhm.
then you're ahead of the game.
And,
anyway.
and that's what I wondered, what we're.
Yeah, that was, I think it was mentioned at last meeting,
I believe that was spelled out in the report that we.
last
prepared.
meeting,
Mhm.
yeah.
Correct.
It wasn't a report, and there was recently, the one investment, group had come in with about 5.5%. And, the loan we were looking at was about 3.5%, so you make 2 points. And it might sound like, oh, that's not really worth it, but, you know, if we took out the $3.2 million, I think it would be pay $185,000 in tax. But if we took the $3.2 million and invested it, we would have made, with some number, $700,000 in interest. So, you can gain by investing money, eh?
Okay.
It's just a burden to the taxpayer every year with the debt repayment. That's, in looking at this is how I read it. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
No, and also that in there, the debt repayment includes the loans that we actually haven't got yet. Because they were based on the budget, which was we would be repaying the loans for the fire trucks and
Kakabeka.
and the Kakabeka loans in 2025. We haven't secured them yet. So when we do actually get them, we are not going to be increasing the amount
No.
that we are paying. It'll actually be lower because the actual rates are going to come in lower than what we had budgeted, just because rates have dropped since 2024.
Mhm.
So anyway, so we're not going to be increasing that payment amount based on the new loans that we had projected getting for Kakabeka and the fire trucks as well. So that amount's not going to actually increase either.
And I would assume, it would be my assumption that all revenue coming in to the North Landfill site will be discussed in our 2026, 25, 26 budget in the fall.
Yeah.
The process by which we'll handle that money. Okay. Anything else? Alrighty, so I have a resolution moved in second to resolve to close session, the time being 6:41 PM. All in favor? We will take a 5-minute break and then come back.
equipment's here.
Yeah, the equipment's here, yes.
So, And,
We now reconvene the regular meeting at 7:51 p.m. We have a resolution moved and seconded to accept the minutes of the. We have a resolution to accept the minutes of the closed session meeting held on July the 15th. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have a resolution moved and seconded to confirm the meeting that we have had this evening. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have a resolution to adjourn the council meeting held at August the 5th, which is today at 7:51 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. It's been moved and seconded. There we go.
is,